Welcome to The New Next, a podcast that addresses current events and how they will impact the future. Co-hosted by the inquisitive public speaking champion, Mike McVeigh, and energy, economics, and technology expert, Matt Jensen. Join us as we explore all things energy, economic, tech, and political, and how they will affect our future.
Podcasts typically grow by word of mouth. If you know anyone who would enjoy this content, sharing this in a message or by posting on social media would mean the world to us. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
What do you think about We Crash? Or was that what it was called? The Hulu WeWork?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, the documentary to me didn't really give a good intro to it. It kind of jumped in and started talking about it being part cult and part like, are they price gouging, or are they just thieving? And I would say that the average person probably has no idea what WeWork is, especially in the areas I've been in. Like, if I went to my work, I would honestly be surprised, except for the Hulu documentary, that anybody would know what WeWork is. And even then, I don't think most people have Hulu at my work. I heard about WeWork because of a podcast that our friend Brad introduced me to, that was comparing companies, like the downfall of one, or so like Netflix versus Blockbuster, Coke versus Pepsi, McDonald's versus. I don't listen to it anymore because it became very. What was the name for that? Like, I could easily figure out the. I felt like they put too many episodes for every single thing. So it was like 7 episodes. Brad, well, you know what? I'll wake him up. He needs to be woke up. He goes to bed too early.
That's not true.
But it was a good one. It was off of a specific podcast network, because I remember listening to a completely different series that was just jaw-droppingly amazing. But they had one that was compared businesses one to another, and overall it was a good one. And WeWork was brought up because they kept on advertising it like forever. It was like, what was behind WeWork? What was behind WeWork?
Yeah,
I still don't really completely understand what WeWork is. I get the idea that it's a business building that several small businesses could rent, basically lease space.
Yeah, it's just office sharing.
And that made sense to me. How it got into cultish type, or where it was presumed to be cultish, and other stuff, that part I don't understand as much. And I don't feel like the documentary did a good job of going into that side, because it kept on talking about like the owner, but I don't care about the owner. I don't know what the business is like, why this business is considered corrupt, or why we're having a Hulu special. There was another, I think it was on Hulu, but it's the one on the Lulu.
No, LuLaRoe.
Yeah, LuLaRoe. I thought that was a really good documentary that at least really covered what the issue was, why this was controversial. And heck, HBO had a really good documentary series on a specific religious figure who decided to stop being religious and just be a controlling person. And they did a really good job of, again, I felt like they gave the narrative of both sides, what was going on. I feel like the LuLaRoe thing did a good job on that. WeWork, I really just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so me not having knowledge about it prior, it did not feel, I mean, when I try to Google it, like Wikipedia it or whatever, I'm kind of like, okay, so it's a business that shares office space. I really like that idea. I think that's cool. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they're having raves. Like, I don't even get that. I don't get the jump of where, hey, we're sharing office space together to all of a sudden we're doing weekend benders that are going on like 72 hours and stuff. I don't feel like they did a good job of telling me how we got from point A to point D. And there's a lot of information that was missing. Like, was this part of their contract? Was this,
and for me, like knowing about that already and reading about it for years and following the financials and being like, why are they worth 20, 30 times another company that basically does the same thing and has more space? Like I had that backstory, so it was probably easier for me to overlook that. So maybe I should go back and watch it sometime and see if, from your perspective.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's difficult with a lot of documentaries and stuff as well on those kinds of things. Like, what's the one Hulu TV show? It's based on the true story with Elizabeth Holmes.
Oh,
that you really enjoy.
Yeah, that was good.
I had a hard time getting into it because I'd already known so much about the story and about the real Elizabeth Holmes that watching the caricature or the parody or whatever, the acting, I just completely like, that's not how she was based on her own testimony, or anybody else's version of her, where she's like telling her dad, like, oh, it's okay. Just stick it to the other guy. I'm like, what? This isn't, that was exactly the opposite of how she was in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about the house thing, but like her parents getting kicked out. But another thing actually that Brad got me into was, I'm more surprised Theranos, and I know this probably will get cut because that would actually be an interesting thing to talk about, is Theranos and how it still hasn't made people that scared to buy into stuff without knowing anything about it. But yeah, Theranos, like I'm amazed that I never heard about Theranos until after the initial fallout and dismantling of the company.
Interesting.
And then I listened to this kind of, it was like a CNN Dateline style podcast, 5 or 6 hours, I think, between the episodes. And then I read the book by the guy who exposed Theranos, read a couple other books. I listened to a whole other podcast that talked specifically about it, and read some like court documents and stuff about different things, reading articles left and right. And I'm just still amazed that I never heard about it when it was going on. Especially when like General Mattis is like thinking about testing it out for the military. Like, what?
Yeah, there's a lot about there's a lot of that stuff, I feel, because it's kind of like, and so in the venture space, you need to have like a big idea, and it's like something bold to go after, and then it's kind of like, I mean, many ways the historical, I don't know what to say, but maybe the stereotype of the venture capitalist or venture capital company, back company, is that they have this big old plan and they're going after it. And it, the blood testing market is a huge potential market.
Oh yeah.
Like I could see why people would invest in that, but it's the lack of, I guess, corporate governance is rough sometimes when it's, I think in that case, typically you're just killing investor capital. So the investors lose on it. But to have people get false cancer diagnoses and a lot of basically testing on people, stuff that didn't work, and people finding out about that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it's we really need to save this one for one where I can have some research done prior, because I don't want to talk too much I don't want that one to be a speculation thing, as much as a like hard facts kind of thing. And I tried following the trial, but it was just cracking me up. It was like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. I really didn't care about the result, like I didn't care about what was being said, because I already knew what was more or less the truth. And regardless of how the court was swayed.
Yeah.
And since this is not going in there as well, I think the whole trial of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing was a complete joke and did not at all reflect what the case was about. I don't think that he proved defamation by any means.
I have no clue because I didn't watch any
no,
of it.
I'm just, because it became such a spectacle, that's why I don't think it was ever proven. The spectacle itself was to shame somebody. If you would like to learn more about the New Next podcast, find us at thenewnextpodcast.com, where you can suggest a topic you would like for us to cover. If you enjoyed what you heard, share the podcast, tell a friend about it, or rate us with 5 stars. We appreciate you.